Hey, welcome back to another assembly guide. This is for the Minirack Minibadge display. So this is a 1U Minirack Minibadge holder. Has a special vertical USB-C. This one's very hard and finicky to assemble. Something to be aware of. It looks pretty cool when done. Give you an example of what it looks like when complete. So one clock for the upper row, one clock for the second row. You can update the clock resistor or capacitor to make them go different. Right now they're the same. Really cool display mini badge here. So the kit will come with everything seen here. I recommend you also 3D print a single row header helper for my 10 by 10 size. Works really good. So let's move some stuff over. We'll get you through this install. Right now you can move some of the back pieces off. So the back pieces be those, your 10 microfarad capacitors, your Schmitt diodes, those are all front, your capacitors, your black and white MOSFETs, your 200K, and that's it. Everything else is on the front here. Lots of little pieces here. Try to keep it over here so you can see a little bit easier. So everything but the USB-C and normal soldering work really well. That USB-C on the back though is very fine. So like always, I like to just go through and hit one pad in each of these. Okay. So we moved the 150 ohm and the orange LEDs off to the side for right now. Let's start with the red and green LED. Okay. So the red one I like to do at the bottom. Before that, R11 is one of the 220s. R11 and R7 are the 220s. So let's do these first. So R11 and R7. You can orient them whichever way you want. Okay. And then let's do our green LED at the bottom there. So the box is on this side. And so the green at the top of the LED should go into the box, or it should be pointing in. Okay. Let's do the red one, which is D3. Let's see. Same thing. It has a little tab, goes into the box. It should go like this. Hopefully you never see D3, as it is for the short circuit protection. And then our 101, which is our 100 ohm resistor, is our R9. Goes up here. Okay. And then our R5 is our 102, which is our 1K. And that makes R8 our 103, which is our 10K. Position it up. Just kind of doing one side at a time right now. Makes it a little bit easier. And R8 is our 103. Okay, our Q1 is the larger. This is the NPN. Different ways of holding on to this one. And then our Q2 is the little tiny PNP. one is tiny, so do be careful not to lose it. This is one of the smallest parts. In the kit. Okay. Not perfectly straight, but it will work. And the resistors, these are the 150 ohm resistors. They go in, straight in with the orange LEDs. These deal with your clock. They're a little bit larger. Resistors, they should be fairly easy to do. Okay, then we have our orange LEDs. And that would get all the top parts for this. So there is a line. Make sure that goes into the box. Okay. Now we can go through and this is kind of a awkward board. Okay. You can still see it. If you accidentally bridge, make sure you have your solder sucker handy. It's really easy to do on that Q2. If it starts to peak up, just clean your iron. Okay. Okay. That should get all of the front items. Now we can work on the back. Okay, that's like with the front. Just go through and tag. The pad. Try not to forget any pads. Okay. For the USB-C, what I've found is that you just want to put solder on all these pads. They're so fine pitched. I pre-tin all of them. Okay, and then we'll end with the two bigger parts. Let's get in with our 10 microfarad. That's should be a 4-pack, no marks on it. They're kind of dull bronze color. That would be your C6. Since we pre-tinned, we don't need any real solder right now. C6, C5. This is C3. And that should be C1. So the markings are a little hard to see. Okay. And then we'll get with our Schmitt. They will look like this. So 2-pack. They each have 5 pins on them. This one is a little tricky, especially installing it so you can see it on the camera. Makes it even more hard. Okay. Let's do the other one. Okay. Then our 200K, this is one that if you want to switch out to one higher or smaller, you can. It'll change your clock. This is probably the easiest part, cheapest part to do. But this is your R10 and R6. Okay. Then we have an unmarked one, which should have been marked, but this will be your 5.1Ks. Should have a 5.1 written on it. If not, they have a little 5.12 on them. This is so that the USB-C can pull enough, can work with a C-to-C cable. Okay, and then this clear package, this is your 22 microfarad capacitors. This helps keep the 3.3 volts in check. Okay. These are your 3.3 volt converters, voltage regulators. Did this come on? Like that. Okay. Now this is the hard part. There's a white package and one with a black line. The black line is very hard to see. On the finished one, these are your MOSFETs. You can kind of see the marks are a little bit different on them, but the evens and the odds are both the same. So if I pull this out, this one here has like an ML on it, which corresponds with Q5 and Q3. These are Q5 and Q3s. And the other one will be our Q4 and 6. Okay. This a little bit, make sure it's still in view. So the white package is your odds. And our dark package is our evens. Our even ones, they do look a little bit different. They have a little bit more markings on them. Okay. Let's go through and mark down, solder all these on fully before. Before we move to the connectors. Because you don't want these moving. We solder on those connectors. Okay, if it's a little crooked, you do want some solder on top of that. Piece there. Okay. Should be everything but the Schmitt. This is another one that's really easy to bridge. The pins, so make sure you have your solder sucker around. Doesn't take much solder to solder these. So just be aware of that. Ooh. I'm a little too crooked on this one. Okay. Move this so I can. See. That looks much better. Okay. Like I said, this one's so easy to bridge. So do be aware of that. And I still think I have a little bit of a bridge. Actually, my part moved. moved a little. I think it's enough. We'll have to relook at that one. And this should have came in your box. Should have had been in a case. But this one's really simple to put in. Just match it up with the box here. So that I recommend you position. Back one a little. Yeah, the long board does not make this easy. And I didn't elongate these pads. That's something to be aware of. This is a very tight connector. Okay. Make sure that you fully cement this back pretty good. And we'll solder so it can withhandle being plugged in and out. Okay. Now the hardest part. This vertical USB-C. This is a really nice part. Has no orientation. It does have a cap to be aware of that you will have to remove. Remove it before or after. But this one you want to just plug in. Probably removing it after might be better. Then since I pre-tinned everything, I can just go in and just heat up those pads. And then it should keep it in place. And just repeat. Here on the other side. Once you think that's good, come over, flip it around, and solder it into place on the back, on the front. And just want to make sure that it will not move. Once that's in, then we can take our USB-C, plug it in, and verify it works. Okay, we can see that one of our clocks is not right, which is this top one, which I thought was a little crooked, which it is. We'll have to test that, and then we can test our short. Our short works. Okay. So our USB and everything works, but one of our clocks is not working. Which is this one on the back here. It can be very, very difficult to remove this chip, especially once everything is on the board. Try to make it so you can see what I'm doing. I'm still able to heat up these 3 connections. See if we can just lift this up. And then come on the other side, heat up those and lift. Okay, if it's not lifting, just bridge those pads. Makes it easier. To lift them up. Once we get those lifted, then we can fully remove the chip pretty easily. Okay. Verify none of them are bridged. Okay. Now let's re-put this one back on. Okay, that looks much, much better. We'll just come in here and tie those on. And just come in. Not with much solder. Just a little bit to make sure that we get some continuity. Those pads, we look at it. Okay, they look pretty good. Let's plug it back in, and now it works. Perfect. So the hardest part is now done. I just had to get some solder on that. So now let's zoom out a little. Okay, the hard part is done. Now you want to go in and put in a full row of these headers. Should have 32 of them. Okay, once you get a row in, you take your header helper and the slide it on through. Okay. Once you have it all the way on, do be careful. Do take some tweezers or something. Keep this other side from falling. Okay. Nope. Make sure these are good. Then what I recommend is that you go through and just tag at least one pin, if not two. On each of these. If you don't have a 3D printer, you can use mini badges to hold these in place as well. It does take a little bit longer. It's not quite as easy, but it is doable. I like to just go through and just tag each one of these corners. Doesn't have to be perfect, just enough to keep them in place. Okay, that looks pretty good. Some of these. Then you can remove it. And then you can do the other side. Same way. This is a very tight spacing in order to fit two mini bed rows together onto this. So do watch your mini badges that you use, especially if they're extra large. It might prevent you from using some of these holders. Okay. Same thing. Do it up. Flip it over. Put it down. You still should put a little bit of tweezers. It won't move as much, but it does have a little bit. And same thing. Just go through and tag the corners. Once you're done with this, then you can remove the header helper. You can just put it down, and then you can go through and solder the rest of these points without having to worry about it moving or any of those issues. Okay, so we get that in. There we go. Now you can remove that helper there. Now this is in pretty good shape. Let's just solder on, just touch up some of these pads here. Just so we can throw some, for the most part, if all you do are the corners, it should be enough to run all your mini badges. Well, this is these far ones, just to show that it works with some mini badges. So let's do the puzzle mini badge for this year, which is our Chum Chum Chum. Let's plug it in, and then let's power it up, and we can see it work. And that's how you put together the Minirack Minibadge holder. Thanks for watching.